A lot of people have been making videos about this guy who spent all this money on this OnlyFans model. And one of my favorite creators, Jamari, he made a video too about it. So let's see what he has to say. I haven't watched this yet. I love Jamari. If he loved South Park, like everyone should,
Thank you once again, Exter, for
he'd be my
sponsoring
favorite
today's
person
video.
ever.
So we have covered a lot of individuals on this channel that I would consider to be down bad simps.
You're super pretty.
You're super short.
But recently a man came forward to take the title as the most down bad of all time. Yes, Skippy, you somehow have been dethroned.
No. I don't think this guy is Skippy if Skippy had money.
And he's down astronomically not only because of the financial implications of his choices, which range up to nearly $100,000, it's also about him being a diabolical creep. It really all started when a woman named Ruby Rose dropped this tweet on the timeline, where she announced that she had met up with her #1 fan from OF. I just know this room smelled crazy. For those of you who aren't aware, Ruby is a model and female artist, but the main way she makes money is the shekels these clowns on OF are shelling out to her every single month. And this guy just happens to be the worst case on this platform. In his bio, he claims to be some sort of crypto whale looking for a queen.
Now, some people have been throwing out the conspiracy that this is all like a stunt to try to get like more publicity for her, to try to get more people following her. But I think it's not, because I think if it was, it'd be a little bit more well thought out. And yeah, this guy spent an insane amount of money on her, but what would be smarter if you were going to lie about all this would be, this guy is my #1 fan, meaning he spends the most money. Make it something where it's like almost achievable. Put it something at like $3,000, right? Because there will be a bunch of guys who follow her on there who have already spent like $1,000 or between $1,000 and $2,000. So like $3,000 is within grasp. So you would do something like that. So a lot of those guys in that position would be like, ooh, I could be the #1 fan. I can meet her. I can make her my girlfriend. And what you're selling here, a lot of people have the mistaken idea that OF is like porn, and it's not. It's not at all, actually. It's actually nothing like that. Yeah, that can be a factor, and yeah, some people use it as a vehicle to meet up with people for some extracurriculars, right? But most people know it's entirely about the parasocial relationship, which they'll probably get into here.
Which somehow makes things much worse. For one, this is a horrible place to find a queen. And for two, being a crypto bro or NFT guy is not something to brag about in 2023. If only they had all gotten together in that blinding room that day. Regardless, at the time,
Yeah, this guy's spending all kinds of money. So I get the impression that he is one of those people who invested a bunch in crypto early on and made a ton of money, like a crazy amount of money. And then he's just slowly depleting it. So give it another 10 years, this guy will be completely broke. Especially if he's touting himself as this like crypto guy. That means he's going to keep investing in different cryptocurrencies, which will be losing a ton of money. It will be doing the complete opposite. This guy will be flat broke in 10 years, if not less.
time they met, he had already spent over $63,000 trying to get her virtual attention. That's like a full scholarship at a decent college. You could afford a very nice car for that price, a huge down payment.
Because even athletes who, a very high percentage of these athletes who make millions of dollars within a couple of years end up completely broke because they never really planned for making that much money. They don't budget their money and they just spend it all, right? And then they're just doomed because they have nothing. So when somebody happened to get into something early and invest in it, it's that effect but amplified because of the way they made the money. They made the money in a way that was just gambling. That was just randomly this thing took off. So they think that they made money through them being smart, but it was really just randomness. because cryptocurrency is not what it used to be, and it will only decline as time goes on. Obviously, some are here to stay, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but that doesn't really mean anything, right? They're pretty much going to stagnate forever, and they have no reason. There still is the possibility that they could entirely disappear because they're essentially pointless. They don't even function in the way that they were originally supposed to, which was to be like a currency that's like not associated with other currencies, so its value is kind of like the way that gold is valued. But now these cryptocurrencies are completely tied to the dollar value. So they're kind of
Aiming on a home, like
the reason for existing isn't even a factor anymore.
these guys are worse than those men who do the mail order bride thing, or even the ones who talk to some dude behind a MacBook posing as a Russian woman. And the most hilarious part to me has to be the fact that he didn't even get to put his arm around her in the photo with his musty ass. 63,000 smackaroos, and I don't even get a handful? Oh no. At the end of the day, no matter how much money these lunatics are spending to line these girls' pockets, there's no way they don't rue the day that they could eventually meet up with them in person.
I got my phone here. Let me just get it ready here. How's it going, fam? I missed you guys. You look great as always, Caitlin.
Thanks.
I do not do a podcast, UFC event. I don't do anything without using Alpha Brain. Oh, that one's a little fishy.
Thank you so much.
All right,
you know, if someone had told me that you and I would see each other in person twice this year, I would have said they were probably loony in the head.
That's crazy.
But I'm telling you, man, I guess it just worked out that way, you know?
Yeah. All right, take care, Red.
You have a great day, Caitlin. Thank you so much.
Bye. Hi, can I have the hand sanitizer?
I would say it's fair to guess that he could be stalking her. His shirt even says, "If I die, delete my browser history." Like, what the f*** is that? Seems like a good...
Yeah, that's really creepy. And this guy also randomly showed up where this woman was. No, she's like some kind of a rapper, and apparently she also does meetups. So he probably found her incredibly easily, and in his DMs to her, he complains that he sees her posting on her Instagram story, but she's not replying to his messages. So she was probably very easy to find.
Good way to end up on a list with a black SUV parked outside of your house. And our suspicions...
But he still, like, apparently traveled across the country, so it wasn't like he randomly ran into her.
of this man being crazy were confirmed by these alleged text messages he sent to her after they met up. She even has his number saved in her phone as Brian Weirdo F Fan, and he asks why she's not answering his messages, saying, "Why don't you love me like I love you after investing so much money in this parasocial relationship?" Like this dude is on some Stan shit. He goes on to say that he wants to be her king and that he would give her anything she could ever ask for, even going as far as to say they could be in a one-sided, open relationship as long as she sticks by his side when she comes home at night. I have never felt this way about anyone. I want to marry you. I want to have a family with you. I want to only be with you and would give up and quit everything just for you. Like little...
Now, this guy is crazy deep in his delusion of what's going on here. He thinks that he can just buy love and buy a relationship, and that's not the transaction that takes place in OnlyFans. But at the same time, it actually is. Now, what I mean by it actually is that you're buying a parasocial relationship. Think about times you've talked to somebody online, somebody who maybe you've never met, right? People have entire online relationships. Watch this show Catfish. People will have online relationships for years with people they've never met in person, right? This is a common practice. So what you're buying is that. You're buying an online relationship. Now, it's not real. As much as you want it to be real, it's not real. And it would have been nice. Now, no shame on her at all, but clearly a lot of these guys are mentally ill. So I would hope that in their conversations back and forth earlier, previous to these messages, she would have been like, yeah, there's like no chance or maybe not there's no chance, or at least say there's like a 99.9% chance that we will never meet up. So that helps the guy kind of realize that it's a parasocial thing, and that there's almost no chance ever that there would be a relationship out of this. Now, you can say it's the responsibility of these guys to understand that, but you got to understand some of these guys are like mentally ill, mentally challenged, and that you have to at least make an attempt to make it clear, or else it's extremely predatory and you're just milking like mentally challenged people for their money, which is really scummy. But yeah, people need to understand that what these guys are buying are not just like nudie pics. It has very little to do with that. It's actually a connection with somebody. It's the relationship that they're buying. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. Yeah, it's negative if you spend over $60,000 in a month. That's craziness. But for a guy to spend like $100 a month, just to have some kind of connection, just to have some kind of interaction with somebody, just to like feel something, that can really mean a lot to somebody. And that's why so many guys do it, is because it's meaningful to them. They can have a connection. They can exist outside of themselves. Think about how far people will go. There's a reason that video games are the largest hobby on the planet. It's because it's a escape. You escape from your life. You get to do something else. You get to be in another world. You get to kind of like bring out this side of yourself that's different than what you get in your day-to-day life. And that's true of like any hobby, right? You get to be a different version of yourself. Obviously that's not really maybe the intention. That's not why you consciously get into it, but it is true, right? That's why you get that feeling of, part of why you get that feeling of happiness when you are doing whatever it is that you like doing. It's because you're maybe you're not being a different version of yourself, but you're being the happy version of yourself, the you that gets to do what you love to do, right? And it's a different kind of feeling. And that's what these guys are getting, right? Because they want that relationship. They want it so bad, and they get to do what they want to do. Often because they can't actually, they just don't have that in their real life, right? One thing that might shock you is a lot of these guys on here actually are in relationships with women, right? Maybe they're in like a miserable relationship and they just want an escape. They want to feel like they're somebody else. They want to have a connection with somebody because they don't have that connection with whoever they're with. And that's a dark reality that people kind of overlook. They think all these guys are these like super down bad guys, and they're just not understanding what those guys are down bad for.
Bro, she don't even know you. You are in a relationship with your phone screen, my boy. The text goes on to detail his fantasy life of spoiling her with his Bitcoin wallet, saying that she's all he can ever think of every waking moment of his sad existence. You were on my mind all day, every day, thinking of how you smelled in the hotel lobby when I first saw you. It's also suspicious to me how he ran into her in a hotel lobby where she was likely staying. Like, I really do wonder how long he was trying to track her down. And after sending her countless text messages, with some of them being extremely aggressive, how dare you not answer me? I see you actively on your Instagram story and you have not answered me once. You are making me very mad. I have treated you like a princess and you won't even take the time to respond to me. I will not tolerate this. Like, the phone number is about to be disconnected, buddy. And here is where he's
as crazy as this is, which I admit this is completely crazy. This guy's in deep delusion that he needs to get out of immediately. And he could be doing so much other good stuff with this money. Like this woman who's probably already making plenty good money on OF without him. She doesn't need that money. She does not look like she needs that money, right? Not saying she doesn't deserve that money. She worked hard for that money, but that money could like actually go to like helping somebody in need.
somehow takes this to an even worse level.
And like this guy talks about like wanting a family and wanting like marriage one day and wanting to take care of somebody. You don't take care of somebody by just like throwing money at them and spending recklessly. You take care of somebody by like spending cautiously and carefully and planning. Like if you want to have a family one day, buddy, your family could have used that $91,000. You know what I mean? Like that would literally buy like vehicles. You could buy 2 like nice vehicles for that.
Firstly, he continues to run up the OF bill in the midst of her ghosting him, spending an additional $30K the day after they met. He writes her a very long poem saying that he wants to be her sissy boy who she bosses around.
We're not just Petro, we're Petro Canada.
Okay.
Today is the 23rd of November 2023, and Gaza assistant.
While he wears, and I quote, a sissy-made outfit. I have an obsession with you since the day I first saw you on Instagram. Ever since that day, I've made it my life mission to one day have a chance to see you. Every day watching your stories, seeing your amazing life and vibrant glowing smile as you travel the world. He then claims he will send her $400,000 in Bitcoin for one single response, compares their love to a Disney fairy tale, says he told his family about her on Thanksgiving, and then in his grand finale sends her.
He told his family about her on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I've been following this like OF chick. She's a rapper, like lives somewhere else in the country. They're probably like, well, first of all, there's no way he told his family about this. And there's definitely no way he also didn't tell his family the details of who she is.
A tattoo he got of her face on the back of his right calf. Ain't no way old boy captioned this tattoo saying #1 spender, talking about he was #1. Now do you guys see why I say he is the most down bad individual?
Alright, so I guess Skippy has never like got a woman's face tattooed on his body, so maybe this guy does beat Skippy. But it just doesn't make sense. He has money. Like, he's following this chick, this like female rapper. Like, I'm sorry, but rap music is pretty sexual in nature. So, in this If I Die, Delete My Browser history, apparently this guy was like addicted to adult content. And I just don't know why he wouldn't venture into a different sector of sex work. If he's got all this money, like, if you're this desperate, I don't know, spend $100. Like, go out and spend $100 like once a week. You'll actually get like a physical connection with somebody. Would probably be a more deep, actual like personal connection with somebody because they're actually physically there. And even the physical connection, I get it. It's not that much of a connection. I've never done it. I've never purchased a prostitute. But, you know, like, in theory, it's a more of a... There's some kind of physical connection, even though it's, like, monetized. And it's not, like, a serious connection. I would think that over time, maybe one could build. Because I've heard of, like, people being prostitutes and finally like getting out the lifestyle and starting a family and settling down. It typically doesn't work well, and I wouldn't recommend you as a guy pursue that path. You're kind of asking for trouble, but it makes more sense than dropping like $100,000 on some random woman you like had to stalk to meet once. It clearly wants nothing to do with you. Yeah.
Of all time when it comes to this simp shit. Dude, spend some of that money you got on therapy. You got some serious shit to work out in your head. And don't think that he is the only one out there who is like this. This is merely one of the cogs in this massive parasocial machine.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. As somebody who managed an account for somebody once, holy jeez. Even in like a small area, you would be shocked at the money random people will throw down. Like, I swear, if you lived in a place with a population of like even 5,000 people, if there are going to be people throwing down hundreds and hundreds. This guy's an extreme case, but this is a very lucrative career choice, but be safe. Don't be like this woman. Don't be like, it's very complicated when you try to mix it into this like public persona. Most people on there, they're using fake names. You could use fake locations. Like, don't monetize these people's loneliness and then put yourself at risk of making it kind of known where you are at all times. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems a little dangerous to me. Like,
the internet has created. He just happens to be the creep with the big wallet. I mean, just look at the girl from the Dr. Phil show who recently revealed that she made hundreds of millions of dollars from that website the day she turned 18 years old. Some people really just need to get the hell off the internet and go outside, meet a real person, have a real connection, because if you're to the point where you are sending any of your money to someone who will never even truly care that you exist outside of taking you for a ride, you are living wrong. For these women, you really better watch out. You never know who is truly behind that other phone or computer screen funding your lifestyle. But I do wish the best for her. To be honest, I would have replied with my Cash App to at least get that 400k in Bitcoin before blocking this clown for good, because she's definitely gonna have to use some of that money to beef up her security. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all of this.
oh yeah, that's definitely what she should have done. Obviously, it's terrifying, right? But it's also what she signed up for. That's exactly what I would have done in her shoes. I'd have been like, all right, send it then. And then just completely blocked the guy so then he can't even donate anymore. Because that's the only way the guy's going to learn his lesson and change his behavior. He's probably still going to follow girls on like OF, but he'll at least understand, like, maybe you shouldn't be just throwing out enormous amounts of money. Just spend little bits of money and maybe reflect on what you're really getting out of it. Because I genuinely think what these guys are getting out of it can be a positive thing for them if they are willing to reflect and get some perspective. Because I think that what they would ultimately be getting out of it would be to eventually stop doing it and really focus on why they're not finding that connection in their real life and how they're going to move forward and find a relationship and meaning in their life. But yeah, that was Jamari talking about this guy who's just a whale, just a crypto whale. I mean, if that person didn't get him, then probably he would have fallen into some other trap. Maybe he would whale on some video game. Maybe he would spend all kinds of money elsewhere. Some people they can't help but spend every dime they have. But hopefully people like that can get help, get some perspective, and, hold on to some of their money, invest in something meaningful. Because investing in crypto, you're gambling. You're taking a huge gamble. Invest in like property or like gold, something that will just like maintain its value or increase in value over time. Don't like roll the dice with your everything you've ever made. That's kind of dumb.